There are moments in history when beauty and destruction share the same breath. A city that danced in sunlight would soon burn beneath the shadow of a mountain. This is not just the story of fire. It's the story of how life can vanish in a single heartbeat. This is the last day of Pompeii. There was a time when Pompeii was alive. The sun rose over the rooftops, painting the city in gold. Merchants called out across marble streets. Children laughed in the courtyards, and the scent of fresh bread drifted through narrow alleys. The people of Pompeii lived beneath the shadow of a mountain they believed to be a god. Mount Vesuvius watched silently, calm, majestic, and still. No one knew that this peace was only the silence before the fire.
It began as a whisper beneath their feet. A vase trembled on a table. A candle flickered. A woman arranging flowers paused, her hands shaking as the petals fell. The sound was small, like the earth sighing. Then it stopped. Silence returned. People exchanged uncertain glances, and then they smiled again. "The gods are restless," someone joked, but the air felt different, heavy, waiting. Moments later, the second tremor came, stronger. The ground shuddered, rooftops creaked, dust fell from the beams above. And in the distance, from the mountain's heart, a column of smoke began to rise. Soft, gray, beautiful almost. No one ran, no one screamed. They had seen this before, they thought, but this time, it would not fade. The morning light dimmed too soon that day. Then the world broke open. A thunderous roar tore across the sky. Presumption of Vesuvius erupted, a tower of fire and ash, black as night, glowing red from within. The heavens burned. In an instant, day turned to darkness. The people looked up in terror as the mountain vomited stones, smoke, and flame. The air grew thick, every breath heavy with dust. Mothers clutched their children. Men shouted prayers into the wind. Ash began to fall, soft at first, then faster, heavier, coating the city in gray snow. Tension overflowed with soot. Amping the statues disappeared beneath falling dust. Pompeii, a city that had lived for centuries, now stood at the edge of the end.
Then came the fire. Rocks the size of fists rained from the heavens. Roofs collapsed. Streets vanished beneath debris. People fled toward the gates, clutching their families and whatever treasures they could carry. But the roads were gone, buried beneath ash and rubble. A woman dropped a candle in the dark. It rolled across the stones, catching a bundle of straw. The flames spread, leaping from one house to another until the air itself seemed to burn. The city was no longer a city. It was a storm of light and smoke. Horses broke free, galloping through the chaos, their silhouettes lost in the red glow. The sky rained fire. The earth screamed. And still, Vesuvius roared above them, unstoppable, alive, divine. Across the coast, in Herculaneum, people saw the burning sky and knew their fate. They ran to the sea, the only place untouched by fire. The waves glowed red beneath the falling ash. Families pushed wooden boats into the water, desperate to escape. Mothers held their children close, shielding them from the burning dust. The air grew too thick to breathe. The sea turned black, and still they tried, their faces gray with ash, their eyes searching for light. But there was none. The fire had reached the water. The world itself seemed to melt. Then came a silence unlike any before. For one brief heartbeat, the mountain stood still. The air went quiet. The fire dimmed, and then it came. A wall of gas, ash, and death. Racing faster than the wind, hotter than flame. Trees turned to ash where they stood. Stone shattered. Flesh became shadow. Within moments, the wave consumed Pompeii. Streets, temples, homes, all vanished beneath the breath of the gods. Inside one small house, a family prayed. A mother whispered to her child. Their final words were lost beneath the roar. And then, nothing. Only silence remained. When the fire was gone, the mountain fell silent once more. The city that had laughed and loved now lay still beneath a sea of ash. Roofs buried, streets erased, statues half buried, faces frozen in eternal motion. A scream, a prayer, a breath never finished.
The fountains were dry. The birds were gone. Only the wind whispered through the ruins, carrying the memory of what once was. Pompeii, a city that vanished in a single day, yet would be remembered for all time. Centuries passed. The world forgot. Then one day a shovel struck something beneath the soil. A wall, a mosaic, a body turned to stone. Archaeologists uncovered the city piece by piece, brushing away centuries of silence. They found paintings still bright with color, pots still resting on tables, the shapes of men, women, and children, their final moments preserved in ash, a mother holding her child, a dog curled beside a door. Pompeii had not died. It had simply waited. Today, the sun rises over Pompeii once again. The volcano sleeps, calm, quiet, and watchful. The streets are empty now, yet they speak louder than any words. They remind us how fragile life truly is, how laughter can turn to silence in a single breath. But they also remind us of beauty, how even in destruction there is memory. Pompeii stands as a monument to that truth, that time may bury us, but it also preserves the story of who we were. And if we listen closely, we can still hear them. The footsteps, the laughter, the heartbeat of a city that refused to be forgotten.